Hello and welcome to Taking Over. I am Ol'Ed, and I am joined by the natural Astrid Pizarro. There we go. There's the graphic
Yeah,
I was
I was
missing.
about to look for
I
that.
knew it. I knew it was missing during the intros, but I didn't know if I hit it during the intros if it would pull over the video. I had forgotten. I
There you
don't
go.
always know everything when it comes to these shows. That being said, thank you for joining us. We got our friends in the Hot Seat podcast joining us. Thank you. Yes, thank God Parrish is here on the back end doing some producing because Ed's having a bit of an off night. But guess what? Tiffany won. The world is right. We don't have to use that other title that I had for the YouTube video had she lost.
Uh-oh.
Mark is here chanting NXT as he should. I will have to be able to ready to chant that in a couple days. But we are here. The battle lines have been drawn. The preparations for Battleground are complete. We know, we think we know, the full card. We've got a 6 match card. We'll talk a little bit about it at the end of the show, briefly, because we do have, for the first time, we have our
Woohoo!
own preview show. We are going to be joined by Doc, Chris Mueller from the Bleacher Report. You'll know him as Doc on Twitter. He's BR Doc on Twitter. He's going to be joining us for a preview and prediction show this Saturday. And since I shall be live at Battlegrounds, we had to find somebody who can live up to my energy, you know, co-host with Ashton and be able to keep her on the straight and narrow. We're bringing in Ella J. Ella J is going to be
Woo!
co-hosting with Astrid. I do find it funny, though, that one of my bucket list co-hosts is being used while I'm not here. I'm
Sorry.
just saying, Astrid.
Not sorry.
Astrid, no replacing me on Tuesday nights.
No promises.
No, no. The show's called Taking Over. I've taken over for a host. Don't let a new host come take over for me.
No, no, no. I'll never replace you. You're irreplaceable.
That's a story for another time. But while we're here, let's go ahead and let's start talking about the show. Let's start where they started. The 4 women in the main event in the opening match of tonight's show, but the 4 women in the title tournament were in the opening as we got a little look-see at what's to come. Really basic, quick, this is why I'm going to win, I'm going to be the best promos. Nothing fancy. And then we get jumping right in to Lyra Valkyria versus Cora Jade. Astrid, because I don't
Well,
have anything nice to say about this, I'm going to go to our women's wrestling expert
that
and
doesn't
talk
mean I'll
about.
say anything positive about it.
No, but at least you can say things that are negative about it, and I will, and people won't yell at me and say that I
Yeesh.
hate women's wrestling.
Well, first I'll say like for the video package though, I love how Lara jumps in and connects everything back to how they were meeting up earlier. She said fate has brought us back together, for her and Cora being in this match here. And I like that it's one of those matches, and I noticed that Roxanne did something similar in the main event as well. Is that she went in for like the quickness of it, and it's like, hey, I want to try to get the pinfall really quick, and I want to get this done and over with. That kind of mindset of like, if I do it quickly, and it'll be over pretty quickly. And yeah, the match in itself, yeah, I didn't watch it when it was airing. I was catching up during commercials. Holy crap, that ended so fast. They just I don't know what's with it. I don't know if it's a Cora thing or what is it. She's only getting those quick matches. I don't know if that's her thing or what's going on, but I find it kind of weird that she has 2 short matches in a row, basically. So that was pretty interesting to think about. But overall, they have done better, both of them separately like this. So this was definitely not the best match. Yeah,
They have
I, I don't have anything else nice to say. So
they have zero chemistry. We've seen this in multiple matches of two of them. They
yeah.
don't work well together. They don't have that it.
Mm-hmm.
As Mark
Yeah.
says, nope, didn't like this at all. Why
Mm-hmm.
so short? Why the winner? I understand why the winner. We've been saying for weeks. I don't know if WWE is going to pull the trigger on a heel versus heel,
Yep.
which is why you had 2 baby faces and 2 heels. And I was going back and forth on if Cora wins, I feel really, really worried about them pulling the trigger on Tiffany too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, oh, Lyra, Lyra feels like she should be better at this point in her career.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how long she's been wrestling outside of WWE, but I know in WWE, it feels like she's been here a while. It feels like she should be able to do this. Her matches aren't getting much better. The finishing kick that she gave was pretty lackluster. The pin that she chose to use was pretty lackluster. The fact that she tried to do a springboard off the second rope and just fell flat on her face, and that Cora had to attempt to recover from out of nowhere, to the point where even Booker was like, "Ooh, I don't think that was what they planned." And you know when Booker's criticizing a move in the match, that it can't be good. Because Booker's talking about, and we'll talk about it later, anything and everything that has to do with nothing to do with the match.
Yeah.
What I don't understand about this is this show is loaded with filler. This entire show, with the exception of really two matches, 3 matches, was filler. These women's matches, not this one. I think this one was exactly the right length because, God, I don't know if I could have watched 5 more minutes of this. But I feel like the entirety of the women's tournament, the one thing I could say about the entire thing is it could have used 5 more minutes per match. For the most part, most of these matches could have used 5 more minutes. It's amazing that we're looking at Fallon Henley and going, she's better in the ring than Lyra Valkyria.
And Cora, too.
No, because I think Cora's fine. I just think Cora needs...
Yeah.
Cora's green enough that she still needs good opponents to look good in the ring. She hasn't reached the level that Tiffany's at yet. And Tiffany's not at a high level right now, but she's at a higher level because, one, she's connected with the crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, love her or hate her, they seem to be loving her at the moment, which is odd.
She gets a reaction. That's what she wants.
She gets a reaction. The crowd is into her, and her matches are getting better and better week in and week out. No matter who she's in the ring with, they're getting better week in and week out. Yes, she's working with better opponents, but I have a feeling the match in Lowell is going to be better than the match we had tonight, and that's going to be half in part is that Tiffany's going to make damn sure it's better. And that's not something I thought I'd be saying about Tiffany Stratton a year plus after she's been in the business.
Yep.
Because remember, before she came here, she was a gymnast. Granted, U.S. national team, but a gymnast. Let's go ahead to the comments. We've got our local establishment saying that we've hit 197 subs. We need to hit 200 tonight. Very, very good. Yeah, a twist I did not see coming. I did not see Lyra Valkyria winning this.
No.
We've got our friends from HBC Bad Guys coming in and joining us. Thank you. Oh, followers, not subs. If you want to get us to 197 subs, we'll gladly appreciate it. It'll pay some bills and let us buy some extra Rogue Energy for this weekend. And we'll get to Rogue Energy in this weekend in just a little bit. Barry jumping in. Tiffany is the only one with the personality. I find it very hard to bind about Cora and the feathered.
And the feathered one.
I call her the bird lady, so it kind of fits. No, I think Cora has a personality. That being said, I think she needs to go back to being a face because her heel personality doesn't work.
No, it doesn't connect with the crowd because if you notice, she's one of those that even with the personality that she shows, she doesn't get really any reaction from the crowd. Like last time she had a promo in the ring, people just wanted her to shut up. And I'm glad that was the first time that Lyra interrupted her because that's the first time I'm happy to see Lyra in any shape, way, or form in NXT because it was one of those moments that Cora needed some saving. Lyra was there. Yeah. It had to happen.
I will say Roxanne Perez has plenty of personality, and I think she's just fine. I mean, I know Barry didn't mention Roxanne here, but I just want to say Roxanne, and for the most part, most of the NXT Women's Division has a personality. Now, granted, some of the gimmicks are still I mean, Kiana James, from accounting, it's a bit of a stolen gimmick, and it's a bit of a crap gimmick, but she's doing the best she can, and she's pulling it off. She's putting in the work to make it better. She's not. She is. She's getting better and better every week. I did not think that I'd be enjoying her. Now, granted, I hate the storyline that she was in, and if she goes back to that godforsaken storyline, I'm going to kill myself. No, I'm not going to do that. It's Mental Health Month. I'm not going to do that, but I'm going to be very, very sad. That being said, she's improving in the ring. We have a lot of these women's wrestlers who are improving in the ring week in and week out. I don't count Dani Palmer for not having personality. We've only seen her a few times. She doesn't have to have a personality. Hell, even Lash Legend has a personality. I hate her. I despise her. But at least she has a personality and a gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
We have our friend Bobby Munson. Good evening. We're doing good. Tiffany Stratton won, so I'm not going on a rant tonight. We have Mark saying, she's not good at cutting promos. She doesn't believe what she says. She needs a character, heel or face, to make me care. See, here's the thing. This is the biggest thing. She has the tattoo that leads her entire story. Bobby is right. I came in at the right time. Let's talk about how awesome Lash Legend... No, we're not talking... We'll talk about Lash Legend very briefly later. Back to Cora. Cora has a gimmick built into her... Literally on her body. Feed the soul, starve the ego. Is the tattoo written directly on her cleavage. Now, I didn't put the tattoo there, but I have noticed it. And by the way, honestly, if you put a tattoo there, you're trying to get people to look there. Let's just be honest. When you put a tattoo anywhere, it's to attract attention. Astrid, I'm right here, right?
Maybe.
But that's the beginning of a gimmick. That's the beginning of a character. Feed the soul, starve the ego. Starve the ego. It's the beginning of a great babyface character. Ironically, to take on Tiffany Stratton. If you flip Cora babyface to take on Tiffany Stratton, there is a fantastic world of a story. Yes, I saw Parash's comment. I'll put it up in a moment.
Oh no.
I saw it. We'll put it up in just a moment. Barrett. All right. We're going to get to this because I'm being called out a little bit in the chat right now. So, Cora as a face is better. Felt way too short-lived. I agree. I do. But I liked the call to turn her heel at the time.
Yeah.
At the time it worked, but now we're in a different place because we don't have Mandy Rose running ruckshot over that division, and we don't have a top heel. Jay White, Lash Legend, our little Ed has some amazing favors. Great. Bobby Munson. I'm going to get to Barry's. Don't worry. I'm going to get there. I don't see you staring at my tattoos, Ed. What's up with that? You don't put yours on display. You don't have a nice, beautiful one right above your cleavage. If you do have one there, send me a photo. I'll stare at it. It's fine. I'm with Ed. Art is there for everyone to appreciate. Again, if you have a tattoo and it's in a visible place that people are going to see, you can't then blame me for looking at it. It's just like the video that I showed Astrid today, and I wanted to see what her reaction is. There's a great video of Bailey that's posted on her Twitter where they're doing a great heart and it focuses in on Dakota Kai. If you focus your vision outside of the Dakota Kai on her shirt, it focuses to a very inopportune place on Bailey's body. I meant with the wrestling, not the boobs. Yeah, fine. Anyways, after the match, Astrid's still muted. I don't know what I missed.
No, I'm trying not to cry here. But even Barry's comment, you didn't put that one up.
I didn't. Okay, I'm sorry. I hadn't noticed, as I'm a gentleman. I did miss that. I meant to put it up and then got sidetracked with everybody else.
Oh my god.
Okay, fine. So maybe people haven't noticed. Maybe Braun Breaker hears this, and next week and over the weekend when I see Braun Breaker and he's 4 rows in front of me at Battleground, maybe I get beaten up.
I'll justify it though, because if you look it up, and I'm telling you, look, this is because they kept replaying it to put it like that. When she turned on Cora, when she turned on Roxanne, she was leaning over the apron, and you could see that's what I noticed the tattoo more than anything. In that particular scene, I feel like I hadn't noticed it or seen it before, and I feel like it was, I don't know, she did it right around that time, and that's why I hadn't seen it. But it felt like a great timing that I saw it right when her heel turn happened. So that's when it got highlighted for me in the pictures, because she has that evil smile, and then you can see the tattoo right there in that picture that they posted, because I had to use it for my review. Okay, so I had seen it.
Yeah, I've seen it in the countless photos that she posts on Twitter and Instagram, where it's just right there. And you see lettering, you're like, what is that? And you zoom in to see what the lettering says. All right. After the match, Cora attacks Lyra Valkyria after the match. Lyra Valkyria is hurt. We'll get an update on her in just a little bit. Ilya Dragunov, speaking of attacking people, Ilya Dragunov attacks Dijak. Note, we're going to hear that phrase a whole bunch tonight in various forms. Dabba-Kato versus Axiom. I was not ready for this to be a squash match. I was quite surprised when the match was over, and I'm like, that was it? I was waiting for at least 4 minutes of this match. I didn't need it to be over in like 3 or 4 minutes. I don't hate it, though. It makes sense that somebody as big as Dabba-Kato would crush Axiom. And it's not giant, like, oh, we need to push the big giant, so we're going to squash all the little guys on the way there. I mean, granted, that's the storyline we're kind of getting.
I was going to say, that's a storyline we're getting now.
But it's not like, oh, we're just going to give him little guys. Like, Axiom got a lot in this match, ironically. For as short as this match was, Axiom got a whole bunch of good spots before he ended up getting crushed by Dabba-Kato. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I feel like it ended so quickly. I feel like I was catching up on my notes and it was over. But I like that part of we get Axiom being like the smaller guy going after and trying to take Dabba-Kato down, going for the knees more than anything. But yeah, other than that, once he takes over, he won. I was like, oh, that was it. I guess this is what we're getting from now on a weekly basis. Him squashing the guys in like 5 minutes or less.
We got in the hot seat pot. Axiom was just trying to do the math on how to stop him. Poor guy. Mark it the other way. I hated that Axiom actually hurt him, and that Dabba-Kato should have destroyed him more. I like that they're giving Axiom a bit of offense in the match to make sure that we don't bury Axiom. There's a nice balance between making your giant look tough and being able to overcome the little guy, but not destroy the little guy in 20 seconds so that it makes Axiom feel like he's not important. Because I feel like there's a time and a place where Shawn Michaels going to want to push Axiom towards Carmelo Hayes. And you can't destroy Axiom with Dabba-Kato if you plan on doing that at some point. Now, you can have him beat him over and over and over again. Just make sure that in every match, Axiom gets a little closer and a little closer. And you know why that's the template? Because that's what they did for Rey Mysterio throughout his entirety of his career. He fights big dude. He gets there little by little by little. People forget in this day and age that Rey Mysterio was lawn darted into a TV truck by Kevin Nash. Why? Because they call him the biggest little underdog in the world because he eventually beat Kevin Nash. So we forget about the image of him being lawn darted. And I mean legitimately lawn darted into the side of a TV truck. It's a great video. Barry says I went to the toilet and totally missed it. Honestly, for almost every match on the show, you could say I went to the bathroom and missed the match. There's a great way to do it. David versus Goliath can still have David getting some offense and giving hope to the viewer and belief that they make. I agree. That's the Rey Mysterio method. He gets a little bit more and a little bit more each time. You don't have to just bury him like you did between Brock and Ricochet. Because it's taken so much time to get Ricochet out from underneath what happened to him with Brock. And I have a feeling Triple H is going to do a much better job come Saturday when we have Ali versus Gunther. That match I don't think is not going to be 20 seconds. That match could be 5, and even if it's 5 minutes, as long as Ali looks strong in 1 or 2 of those minutes, that's all you need. Just put a little chink in the armor of Gunther. Don't beat him. By God, do not beat Gunther. But just a little bit. No, Mark, we've talked about this. We need to get you rehabilitated. Ali is good. Ali is wonderful. Don't destroy Ali. He is lovely. Do not destroy Ali. If Ali is game and they let him go with the match, I agree. Ali and Gunther will have a great match. And you want to know why I know that? Because I've seen Gunther have great matches with JD McDonough. I've seen Gunther have great matches with Will Ospreay. I've seen him have great matches with Tyler Bate. I know he can have a great little man, big man match to the point where you think he's going to lose over and over and over again. No, no, no. Bad mark.
I was
Bad
waiting for
mark.
that bad mark.
Bad mark. In both connotations. Yes, there's a few. The Jack Stars match in his debut. His debut match in NXT UK against Jack Stars is a bit shit, I'll be honest. I know. Barry says, I forget Americans say bathroom instead of toilet, so everybody can pretend you're... You know what? It's fine. The head,
toilet,
the
the loo,
lav,
the loo.
the loo, the lav, it's all the same. We have many, many...
I know the loo at least, so I can tell you that.
In our next segment, we have Tony D'Angelo being interrogated. There's an informant, apparently. I have my feelings on who it is. Astrid has an idea who she thinks it might be. But somebody comes in, and I think this is Tony getting off. I think this is evidence that's going to point to Tony D'Angelo not having done whatever they were viewing him.
Yeah.
By the way, that footage was them dumping Pretty Deadly in
That's what I was gonna say. It sounded like that one, at least in the audio.
I wasn't sure if it's the Pretty Deadly one or if it's him throwing two dimes.
Two dimes, yeah. It sounded more like Pretty Deadly because I feel like I heard Tony, but I heard a little bit more too.
Yeah, I would love it if it's actually two dimes. Because I don't know if he's still signed to AEW. I don't watch. So I don't know. But if he's not still signed to AEW and he could come back, I'd love for him to be the informant. Be like, they tried to kill me and throw me over a bridge and now I'm back. Hi, Sean Cena. We move on to another match. Actually, no, not another match. We have a brawl. We have a brawl with the Gallus Boys. The Gallus Boys were on top, and they were talking crap about the D'Angelo family and how Tony's not going to be around for a long time coming. And this is the moment where I said, oh, so Joe Coffey is the informant who got Tony D'Angelo in trouble. That would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Because they started trouble in the bar, and remember, Gallus said, you'll be sorry that you did this. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be Gallus. Astrid, who do you think it is?
I'm still stuck. I'm not saying it is this person, but I'm saying it would be a good twist for me, at least if it was Dax out of anybody. I know probably won't happen, but I think it would be a good twist if it ended up being him, even though he's calling, trying to get him out of there as well. So I think that would have been like a good kind of like gotcha moment. Like I can be that person to you too. But yeah, what is the rest of it was Gallus? It just at the same time I kept thinking, are Gallus really the type of heels that would do something and not point it out and take credit for it right away and just take their time to give the credit for themselves? I don't know. That's the only part that I kept thinking of. But other than that, I'm like, I would like for it to be Stacks. That would be cool.
After they get done going ahead and running down the D'Angelo boys, the D'Angelo family, they start running down the Creeds, to which the Creeds come out and say, no, we're right here to challenge you to a tag team title match in Lowell. And I'm like, all right, cool. I can watch tag team wrestling. I like tag team wrestling. I'll get to have nice pictures for Astrid of Julius Creed standing in front of me shirtless. I'll send them to Astrid. It'll be fine. But no, I'm excited to see Gallus. It's one of those people that I never expected to see live because I never thought they'd be coming to the States. I thought they were going to be an NXT UK thing and then end up on some type of wrestling that I don't watch. I didn't think they'd ever actually end up on NXT proper. So I'm excited to see Gallus. More importantly, I'm excited to see this match. Because again, the tag team division right now, there's no match in the tag team division I don't want to see. D'Angelo family versus Gallus, cool, I'm in. The Gallus versus the Creeds, cool, I'm in. Hell, Gallus versus Idris Enofe and Malik Blade. Yeah, sure, let's watch Gallus to absolutely destroy two guys. I'm down. There's no tag team match I don't want to see right now in this tag division on the men's side. I wish there was a tag team division on the women's side to talk about, because right now our NXT Women's Tag Team Champions are on SmackDown, but are not in the new Women's Tag Team Championship title match, which makes no sense.
Nope.
Because you'd think they'd be in there.
But Raquel has her 50th random partner. Let's go with that.
Well, you got it. Proper Celtic boys grassing up people wouldn't be too surprised. Oh, Mark, stop hating on the Scottish lads.
Mm-mm.
They're just good lads. I don't usually comment on such thing, but Brutus needs a new barber. I agree. Brutus's haircut looked pretty rough tonight. I mean, and that's coming from me. Like, I do my own, and like I have a crap cut, but like, I agree. Brutus. You know what he should do? There's a great barber right there in the NXT locker room. It's the same place that Mello goes. He should talk to Mello and see if. Well, you know what? Talk to Trick. Talk to Trick. Mello's a little busy this weekend, but go ahead and talk to Trick, and I'm sure you can get lined up at. What is it? Whiz Cuts, I think is what it's called.
I think something like that, yeah.
Or Cut Whiz. Something like that. We have Dara Amazing saying hello. Hello, Dara Amazing. Mark and Bobby are talking about wonderful places in England. Because Bobby, if for those who don't know, Bobby spent some time in England. I believe he grew up there. And then came over here. But I know that from Bobby's soccer streams that Bobby was doing during the Premier League. So every now and then you can catch Bobby doing a soccer watch along, and he talks about how much he loves growing up in the UK. No. Football involves the throwing and the catching and the running of a sort of oblong piece of thing wrapped in pigskin. That's football. The rest is called soccer.
Oh gosh.
Oh
yeah, I was about to say that.
He was born in Calgary, in Canada, home of the Hart family, but his mom and dad are from England. No, I'm American, so thus it is just football, whereas yours is just soccer.
Okay, I'm American by association, so I guess I could call it that too. Oh gosh.
We're not. This is another argument for another day. We'll get into that later. So there's a big brawl that comes out. 3 Gallus boys, 2 Creed boys. There's gonna be a problem here, right? Nope. Out comes Stacks for the save. I was surprised. I was like, "Who's coming out for the save?" I didn't know who it was. All of a sudden, I saw it was,
first.
I did not either. And then I saw it was Stacks. I'm like, "Oh, that's cool," and it makes sense. They're running down D'Angelo. They're running down him. It makes sense that he come out and get a piece of them too. I'm going to cut to it now because I don't think I wrote it in my notes. Later on, we have a scene with the Creed brothers backstage with Ivy Nile and Stax. And Stax is like, that was fun. I really enjoyed it. And they were like, hey, thanks for having our back. And he's like, by the way, if you want me to continue having your back, on this Sunday, I can go ahead and have your back too. And they look at each other and they're kind of like, no. And Ivy's like, yeah, you should. And they're like, you know what? We'd like to. We appreciate it. We like the offer. We've had our partners turn their back on us before. We're just gonna go without it. Hope there's no offense. And he's like, no offense taken. And they walk away, and he just goes on typing. I would like to have seen Stacks there ringside of the tag team title match. I think it would have been smart. They're probably going to lose because of outside shenanigans because Stacks isn't there.
Yeah. Which
is all good for the story. It just makes. It just makes sense. Sorry, I just read another comment in the chat. I'm just going to leave it for now. We've got Wes Lee backstage being interviewed by Mackenzie, talking about Joe Gacy and his friend Tyler Bate. He talks about how he thought things with Tyler were going to be different. He talks about how he thought when he had Tyler Bate there that it was just going to be friendship and that Tyler would come to him like a man to ask for the title match. Mackenzie says, well, I wanted somebody to come and give their input on that. And she brings in Tyler Bate. And Wesley just looks at him, shakes his head, and walks away and says, nope.
Mackenzie, how could you? I thought we were friends.
And Mackenzie's just like, oh, but I was trying to be kissing. And she's just sad. And she's watching Wes. Tyler's having this great conversation with himself as she's just like staring off in the distance at Wes. Vic, you control your woman there. Wesley's standing there, and she's just watching him walk away. Be careful, Vic. You never know. Weirder things have happened. Any thoughts on the promo about Tyler Bate, Wesley? Anything here? It flows right into the match between Eddie Thorpe and Tyler Bate. And I'm going to let Astrid go ahead and take the reins on this one.
Is it because it's Tyler Bate?
I've
Tyler
been
Bate was
talking.
on my screen. That I'm happy. That's it. I'm kidding.
I've been talking for about 10 minutes now because there's been no wrestling because this entire fucking
Oh my
show
god,
is filler.
Mark, no,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
Stranger things have happened. I was gonna leave it at that, but
Oh gosh. Okay, no.
there's been more than that. John Cena, Mickey James,
Yeah, Jericho and Kelly. Anyway, moving on from that.
Kelly, Melina in half the men's locker room.
Okay, we're stopping there. Anyway, um, no, I like the part of having Western commentary here. I feel like it was a good back and forth match. It's been my favorite Eddie match so far because I feel like they really had a good showcasing for both of them. Like it was balanced well enough for me. More than anything, what stood out was the ending after Tyler wins. We have Gacy attacking him, and West kind of comes to defend him, but Gacy moves, so he ends up hitting Tyler instead. And Gacy takes the opportunity to, go over here and take on West. And he just takes the title. He's raising it up in the air as we have Ava smiling at him from like the entrance, happy that he's having this moment for himself. Um, and then when we come back from commercial later on, we have Wes and Tyler that they show them that we're arguing and like shoving each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Eddie Thorpe looked great in this match. Mel, this is your Eddie Thorpe update. Eddie looked great. They're continuing to push him. He looked great in defeat here. He
Mm-hmm.
did everything he needed to look good. He had a good match with Tyler. And again, hard to have a bad match when you're in there with Tyler Bate.
Mm-hmm.
And again, yeah, it was his best match. It was also his best opponent. I mean,
Yeah.
to this point, his best opponent had been Damon Kemp and Javier Bernal. And I love Big Body Javi as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
He's great. He's going to be on one of these shows sooner or later. I'm telling you. I'm going to make it happen. That being said,
Oh, there you go. No, you noticed. But I feel like it's definitely Tyler, and then Javier will be the second one that's been my favorite one afterwards. Because I feel like it was lengthy enough that they were able to like help each other during this match and like show off both of them. So this might like Javier is my second favorite match with Eddie so far.
yeah, I agree. I mean, Eddie's had, granted, Eddie hasn't had a ton of matches, so it's
Mm-hmm.
not hard to pick good ones because, you know, and Mark's not wrong here.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this before. Looks good in the ring, but I know nothing about him and want to
Yeah.
know more about Eddie. I think there needs to be more promo packages. I think there needs to be more in-ring interviews. I think they've got the beginnings of something good. They need to keep building on it. They did a really good job with Stevie Turner with making us care who she was before she got hurt. They did a really good job with who was it that they had the really great video packages for?
Anybody but Lyra.
Agreed, anybody but Lyra. But there was one in particular that we talked about how great they were.
um, shoot, I can't remember
They're
really.
they're so ingrained in NXT now that I can't even think of the video packages. I mean,
I
honestly,
think was it Soul that no was I
Soul
remember
Ruka,
Soul.
no,
I feel like,
so a little bit of Soul.
but I
Um,
think hers was like after her debut, but still was like a great way to connect to like her character.
yeah,
With Light Up, we didn't get anything like that. Stevie was the one that really stood out. But all we know from
Nikita.
Eddie's that he's Native American and he's a DJ, and that's it.
They need to bring
They
those
need to
two
expand
together
on
and,
that.
and, and give it. They had one. I was like, okay, cool. This is a good start. Where he talked about his Native American heritage and how he was different from his others because of the fact that he wanted to pursue the Western world and he wanted to pursue the music and things like that. I'm like, okay, cool. It makes sense. Um, tell us about his time in Japan. Why he took offense to being called a young boy by Damon Kemp. Give us a little more backstory on that. Let him have a nice little promo segment. Let him talk in the ring. Give us a little more because, like Mark says, he's good in the ring. His
Yeah.
matches are entertaining. But some people like Mark need more than just that little bit that we've had. And again, I connect with him more as Lars Fredericks than I do as Eddie Thorpe. And that's part of the difference. When you see somebody somewhere else, you connect to them there. Going back to the match was great. I loved the fact that they have Wes Colcock trying to smack Gacy and absolutely Colcocking Tyler Bate. That is
Yeah.
so funny. I love it. I
Chef's
love
kiss.
exactly. Chef's kiss, great miscommunication. Mark is on the bandwagon of Tyler Bate needs to win on this Sunday. Um, he's on SmackDown, but I'm gonna do it anyways. I've got some bad news. I don't think Tyler Bate's winning.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't think there are any titles changing hands other than the one title that's supposed to change hands because there's no champion.
Mm-hmm.
And
Agreed.
that's sad because we're going to talk about another title that I really wish would change hands based on what we saw tonight. Um, but yeah, I like the fact that they had that after the break, during the break, they had more
Mm-hmm.
breakdown between Tyler and Wes. I like Wes being the mid. He's not really a babyface, not really a heel against these two guys. He's in the middle ground. He's pissed off that his friend betrayed him and went ahead and did this. Yes, Sean Cena, absolutely wishing speedy recoveries for Liv Morgan and Dakota Kai,
Yeah.
especially Dakota. Not that I want Liv Morgan hurt. I don't want her to have a speedy recovery, but Dakota Kai has so much respect for me for getting hurt while protecting another competitor, and while we're going ahead and doing well wishes for somebody who I'm not a huge fan of lately, especially for a while I haven't been a huge fan. Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks, get well soon too. She got a broken ankle. So there's a lot of women's wrestlers out there right now in the last couple days that have come out with injuries. So hopefully they all get better and they can all continue to make wonderful waves in the wrestling business because all three of them are fantastically talented individuals, doing their things in their own little ways. God, I really hate Mercedes. I know it's nothing to do with NXT, but God, that theme music sucks. I
No.
watched her. I watched her entrance this weekend from that show.
Resurgence.
Yeah, the crowd, the crowd that was there, and by the way, not a sellout.
Yeah.
Not a sellout. She managed to sell out San Francisco when it was her versus Kyrie. Her versus Willow, unfortunately, did not. And I'm surprised because I would have much rather seen her versus Willow than her versus Kyrie. Not a big Kyrie fan, to be honest.
I see. I see.
But anyways, that Mercedes Moné song is just awful. So bad. Can't stand it. We should do a tier list one of these days, me and you. I think it could be fun.
I like
Anyways,
it.
stop spitballing new shows and going ahead and doing things. This is where Lyra updates her medical status
Yeah.
by telling us nothing. She's
Yep.
like, my knee is
I'll be
swollen.
fine.
My
I'll be
knee is
okay.
yeah. My knee is swollen. I have no idea what's wrong. I mean, I can tell you that I didn't tear any ligaments, and well, yeah, you got hit with a kendo stick. You didn't get run over by a car. Yes, nothing tore. Good job, Lyra.
Well, she's not the
Fish.
one with the degrees, okay? That's Kiana, just so you know.
You mean she didn't get a degree in Birdland, wherever she came from? They
Yeah.
still haven't explained that, by the way. Anyways, she says that she wants to face Roxanne. As I said to Mark, I think I've got some bad news for you, Lyra.
Yeah, I love the question though because Mackenzie asked was like, "Who would you like to face in the final?" She said, "This is where the part when people usually give you a vague answer, right?" And I'm like, nobody really said like nobody really
Oh no, it's
plainly says
always
that.
it's always a vague answer. Oh,
No,
I
no,
don't
but I
really
mean like
care.
nobody like her like she says that people give the vague answer like her saying that people usually do that like on screen. I was like, somebody recognized that it happens way too often. But I love how she went, I want Roxanne and her reasoning just like, she's the best in NXT, so I want to face her. And then that's when I went, definitely not winning then. Good to know.
Yep. When the babyface wants to wrestle a certain person, it almost never happens, I'll be
Mm,
honest. Yeah, I love NXT calling out WWE's shit booking for the last 30
yeah.
years.
Like her recognizing that itself that people this is the moment that people get that big answer. I was like, what is this?
I
Yeah.
didn't like that it was her doing it, and I wasn't going to give her credit for it, but yeah.
Yeah.
I do love that WWE's calling out their own shit booking.
Hmm.
And honestly, it's only in WWE that I ever hear that happen, by the way. In other companies like Ring of Honor, it's always like, no, I want to take on this person. I want to fight this person. In Impact, it's never like, I don't care. It's always, Josh Alexander's a great thing. He's like, I'll take on everybody and anybody. You want to fight me? Sure. I'll fight you. I'll fight you. WWE, it's like, I'll just wrestle whoever gets put in front of me. Noam Dar is backstage with his cup, and Nathan Frazier's walking to the ring.
Yeah.
Nathan Frazier versus Noam Dar, however, not match. This was the best match on the show. By far and away, absolutely no doubt, this was the match of the night. These guys put on a clinic. I hated that half of it was in the ad break. I really hated that half of it was in the ad break. Now, granted, NXT still does picture-in-picture ad break. I would still like to see more of the match.
Yep. Agreed.
Noam Dar is great in the ring. Like, you can't, as much as you like to tease Noam Dar for all the wonderful things, and you can, because there are so many things to tease Noam Dar for.
Yeah.
His in-ring ability isn't one of them. He's great. Yeah, well, the best. They show why British wrestling is really, really fun to watch. I'll leave it there. I won't say it's the best.
Dang.
But it's really fun. And this is coming from somebody who's watched a lot of British wrestling over the past 10 years. Now, granted, obviously not as much as Mark. Mark's grown up there. Barry's grown up there. These people have grown up watching British wrestling. They know more than I do. However, I have seen a lot of progress. I've seen everything that done by WCPW. I've seen almost all the stuff that they did when they were Defiant after WCPW stopped being the branding name for it. There's a lot of wonderful things in British wrestling. ICW, if you haven't seeked out ICW, please go out and seek ICW. They are fantastic. Lots of free stuff on YouTube there. Lots of Joe Hendry there. And as you know, me and Astrid being, I'm the third host. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
At this point, I am the third host of Making an Impact. Which, by the way, you can catch me on there on, I believe it's June 10th?
8th,
June
I
9th?
think.
8th? The second Thursday in June. But no, there's a lot of Joe Hendry in ICW, and we believe in Joe Hendry.
Yes.
That being said, Noam Dar versus Nathan Frazier. Absolutely fantastic. These guys killed it. My favorite part of this match, though, has nothing to do with the two of them. It has to do with Dragon Lee coming out to the ring and talking to the cup like Noam Dar does. Oh my god. He has his hand around it like it's an actual woman.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what they prompted him with to tell him this in the back. Like, I know he kind of gets it, but I don't know if he fully understood it. But they gave him the greatest pointers in the back. Because
just act like you're flirting with a woman and that's it.
They did. And they told him, just flirt with the cup like it's a woman.
Yeah.
And man, he turned on that Latin flair and flavor. And he was out there and he's like, yo, baby. Mm-hmm. And he's like up in the cup's face and he's got his arm around the cup. And Noam is freaking out. He is not a happy camper. And he comes out of the ring and Dragon Lee just like, oh, yeah, you want this? You want this? And he just points and Nathan Frazier attacks him and gets the 1, 2, 3. Oh, it was just fantastic. I love it. Also, they're amazing. I believe in Joe Hendry. The cop's in the wrong spot, but yes.
I wanted to do this one too because as Barry was saying, match of the night reminded him of the classic TNA X Division, go back and forth, fast paced, and both wrestlers mostly in sync. Yep. Yeah, I feel like I know that Noam Dar, we haven't seen him on screen for a while, but I legit forgot what he wrestles like. You know what I mean? Like the style, I kind of forgot it because I hadn't seen him wrestle in so long, like me personally, not just in NXT, but like in general. So seeing him with Nathan, I was like, I wonder how this is going to be like. And I love the fast-paced action from it. The part of like he already kind of notices the way that Nathan's going. So like when he hit the top rope to make Nathan fall down, and then when it was about to happen the second time, Nathan's like, I got it this time. I'm taking you down before that happens. But yeah, I like that they had a good back and forth. It was so fast-paced. Just something that I guess I was surprised with like the way that he wrestles and he speaks. I kind of forgot what it was like for me with him. I did point it out to him. I don't point it out in here too. It just made me laugh so much in commentary when Booker says that Noam Dar has like a 271 day plus reign with the cup so far. And he said you should just left it at home
500.
And maybe that.
500 plus.
Okay. And then he said maybe he should have left it at home because he could have kept it forever. And I was like, so you're gonna try to make us forget about the cup by having him have it at home then? Is that what you're trying to tell us that we're supposed to happen? Good to know, Booker. So that would definitely like made me laugh the way he just pointed out. I was like, you could just kept it at home and kept it forever. Like nobody would have noticed that you had the cup. Good to know.
I honestly think the only reason why they brought Noam Dar back is because he had the cup and they felt like they had to bring him back. To have him lose the cup. As Dar Amazing says, Dragon better leave Noam's baby alone. It's just Noam Dar is so good at being a comedic talent, but such a talented in-ring wrestler. It blurs the line so well. It reminds me of Eric Young.
Mm-hmm.
where he can be comedy when he needs to be, but when he needs to be serious in the ring, he can do that too.
Yep.
This British Rules match at Battleground is going to be fantastic. I'm so excited to be there to see this. It'll be my first time ever seeing it. As it was said on commentary, this will be the first time that the cup is ever defended outside of the UK. It has never been defended outside the UK before, so I'm excited that I'm going to be able to be there to see it. British Rules, for those who don't know, 3 6-minute rounds. You have to get 2 falls in order to win the match, and it's no 1 fall to win a match. I don't know. I forget. Booker kept saying things, and then Vic kept correcting him, so I forget the exact rules. But I know there's 6 rounds. I know they're 3-minute rounds. The match lasts 18 minutes plus breaks, so maybe 25 at most. It's going to be fun. It's going to be flying. It's going to be great. I'm very excited for it. There will be a winner.
Oh.
I have a bad feeling about who it's going to be.
So it says they consist of 6 3-minute rounds with 20-second breaks in between each round. Matches are 2 out of 3 falls. Falls can be won by pinfall, submission, or count out. And once the fall occurs, the round ends. The match ends when a wrestler has won 2 falls.
Yep. I will. I'm gonna really enjoy it. But you guys get Ella J, so it's like it's a nice trade off. I get a night off. You guys get Ella J. It's good. Barry coming in, 2 falls, 2 submissions, or a knockout. DQ or knockout ends the match. Yes. All kinds of good stuff in here. Thank you guys for helping out. Like I said, it's a match that we're not going to see very often here in the United States. Mark reading the exact thing that Astrid just did. Thank you, Mark, for going ahead and pulling that up. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited to see this for the first time. Having not been somebody from the UK, I don't get to see these very often. So it'll be exciting. Different types of matches are good, and this card has all sorts of different types of action. And you know what? When you have all that kinds of different types of action, and you go ahead and you have different things going on, you want to be able to make sure that you have the energy to go ahead and go through it. And that's when you need Rogue Energy. Go to rogueenergy.com or shoot the QR code. Shoot the QR code, not the QR code. The QR code right below Astrid. And you can go ahead and use the promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. They got all kinds of flavors. They got all kinds of good stuff. The Rocket Pop and the Blue Raspberry are back in. I know Parrish was telling me that the other day. So go ahead and make sure that you get those. My favorite's the watermelon. I know Mel's favorite is the blood orange. So go ahead and check out all those wonderful flavors and more at rogueenergy.com and use the promo code OLEPODS to get 10% off your order. You know, I may not be a professional speaker. I may not be able to talk well. But you know who does talk well? Alyssa Milano. So we're going to... Alyssa Mariano. No. Marino. Almost. You need to put the names like you did last time with Samira. It's just one name. I can put it. We're going to go ahead. Astrid has a brand new Astrid Ask coming out this Saturday, right after Night of Champions. Hopefully it'll be finished just before we go on the air for our local establishment reactions. But make sure you go ahead and check out Astrid's YouTube channel, and you're going to get a little clip of her interview with Alyssa right now.
Everything else has just been little opportunities that have come my way. Like we're for CCW, for Capital Championship Wrestling, getting paired up with Ella J. Like that was such a fun experience that I never really thought that I would ever do, but it just kind of came about because we wanted to get to know more about the talent on the roster. And, you know, I had never met Ella before, but we had this really great chemistry, and it led to some really, really awesome kind of exploration of who these people are and getting to know them a little bit better. So things have just kind of like come in succession, but it all really started from just getting in the wrestling world through the school, through Santino Brothers.
Yes, the Santino Brothers are WWE Hall of Famers. You can go and check them out. Wonderful people. They do all kinds of great work in the LA area training wrestlers. So you can go ahead and do that. In the Hot Seat Podcast. Curious how the crowd will like the match, and some of the matches were not in front of fans sound excited. Yeah, you know, this match has been held, like I said, NXT UK has held this match for years. This is an actual match in British rules. It's a variation of an actual British rules match. So it's a little bit different, but basically the same premise and idea. Barry saying, I grew up watching UK wrestling in the 80s. Every match was like that. It'll be nostalgic. And sometimes all you need is that little pop of nostalgia. That's why we have Trish Stratus on Raw. That's why we have Becky Lynch being a douchebag and calling out things that happened in the Attitude Era. Bad Becky. We don't acknowledge the Attitude Era for the bad things that it did.
Amazing, Becky. Great job with that promo.
Bad Becky. Douchebag Becky. I hope you lose. I'm going to be cheering for you to lose, Becky. God, she's the worst of the Four Horsewomen. Worst. 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 When we rank the Four Horsewomen, she'll be the bottom.
I thought that was Mercedes.
No, I like Mercedes for the most part. I don't like her now. I think that... We'll get into that
We'll do that later.
When you have me on Ladies Wrestling Showcase, we can talk about why I don't like Mercedes. Wow, what did Becky do to me? I've always disliked Becky. I don't understand why people have this, what did Becky do for me? Becky is the most overrated, overhyped woman in the wrestling business. No. Again, when they have me on Ladies Wrestling Talk, we can talk Four Horsewomen. We can talk about why I have the opinions I have about the Four Horsewomen. I have valid reasons. The Four Horsewomen would be better off if they were 3. And there's a reason why Becky was the only one who didn't win a title in NXT. Just saying. Anyways, moving on. We have Ilya Dragunov having an interview in the babyface locker room, and I thought this was great because I saw him in the locker room, and I'm like, oh, it's a bunch of wrestlers. Dijak's about to come running through here, isn't he? Right on cue, Dijak opens the door and just starts. I also love how Dijak is smart. He doesn't just come barreling in the room. He opens the door, waits like 2 seconds for the camera to pan to him, then has him start running over and just starting to absolutely trash Ilya Dragunov. Also, is it bad for the locker room that they don't have talent who can at least even just keep 2 wrestlers apart? I was like, when you have wrestlers part of break apart brawls, and you have all these big tough wrestlers, big bad wrestlers who can't bother to keep 2 people apart. Like, it's just so funny when that happens, and it happens every time that you have wrestlers involved in a pull apart brawl.
Yeah, I don't know if you're me though. I'm like checking who's in the back. I was like, I see JBBJ, I see Dante, and then Javi was stopping Dragunov over here, so it's like pinpointing who everybody is.
Yeah, I tried, but there was a lot of people there, and then Dijak did come in, and I'm like, all right, well, screw it. I'm not going to bother taking notes. Very rare, same. I don't think it's as rare as people think. Ilya! Dijak versus... I did find it funny that he yells his name. Like, Dijak's not looking to, like, attack him from behind. He wants him to know he's coming, which is why this feud is so great. Like, it's not a greatly built feud, let's be honest. It's been short built. But they've done a lot to make us care about these 2 guys beating the holy hell out of each other. And that's good. Like, it's selling the match. And I was right. They were going to have one of the 2 matches, either Gigi or JC, or Ilya versus Dijak would be on the PLE, and the other one was going to main event the next episode of NXT because they needed something big. They knew they had 7 matches to book, and they were like, well, we can only put 6 on the card. What are we going to do? I think it makes sense the way they did it. I would have loved to have had another women's match on the card for the PLE. However, you have 1 match, which honestly, for some companies, they can't even get that on the card. So at least there's 1. It's a title match.
It's going to get decent time.
And they're still building feuds. Like, unlike other companies, they're building feuds outside of the main feud, which is important. Especially when you had half your women's division rated in the draft. And by half, I mean like 6 of them. And by 6 of them, I mean almost 6 of your best. 4 of your best, and then Casey squared. Dijak and Ilya are going to be a tag after this. I am all here. I agree. I really think this is going to be another The Bar situation. We're going to have just 2 guys just beat the hell out of each other and realize, hey, we can be friends. You have to go the other way.
Yeah, I was like, I don't like this. This is opposite. I can't do it.
Yeah, we can't. I know how we can do it, but I'm not going to do it because it's going to screw everything up. Anyways, moving on. We then had one of my favorite features, which is the local recap, where we got to hear one of my favorite wrestling voices, James Stewart, from the 98.5 The Sports Hub. He has his own wrestling podcast on the 98.5 The Sports Hub website. You can go ahead and check that out. Him and Sarge do a fantastic job on that. He is the board operator for the afternoon drive show, the 2 to 6 show. But every time that they have a wrestler come into the morning show, they always bring him in to do the interview because none of the other people can be asked to do research to go ahead and ask the proper questions. So they just bring in James Stewart so that the wrestler has an actual interview on the air. They've done it every time. James Stewart has been to WrestleManias. He was front row at TakeOver a couple years ago. He's a great guy. Met him at a couple shows in the local area. They had Mello on all kinds of shows. They had him at the Kowloon. The Kowloon is the local... it's in Saugus, Mass. It's near Boston. And it's the place where all of the wrestlers go post shows in Boston for Chinese food. The guy there who runs it is a big fan. He's had wrestlers coming in his entire life, ever since he opened the place. It's the place where everybody goes. They all sign a picture. He puts it up on the wall so all the fans can see it. He goes ahead and comps their meals, as you heard Carmelo say. They went ahead and gave us a nice meal. He said us. By the way, did you notice there's no Trick in this entire segment? I was like, where's Trick?
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. So maybe Mark's right. Maybe Trick Williams is turning heel. Maybe Mark is right. No Trick Williams in this entire interview. But it was great to see all the local places. It was great to hear all the local sports people. We had Steve Fall in there. Go ahead and check out that Steve Fall interview because former guest on the post show for Vengeance Day, Victor Tyler Perry, has a question that is asked by Steve Fall to Carmelo Hayes. So go ahead and check out that Steve Fall interview on NBC 10, I believe it is. Anyways, it's great. I don't often get to talk about the local stuff. Normally that's Astrid, because everything's local for Astrid.
I was about to say, roles are reversed on this one.
Yeah, for the first time in a long time, the roles are reversed.
Yeah.
I know all the local stuff because they're actually coming to my city.
Mm-hmm. Your favorite part of the night. Are you ready?
Hank versus Tank happened. Hank won. I was disappointed. I was disappointed on multiple levels because, one, the match actually happened. Two, they didn't hurt each other, which, again, is unfortunate because at least if they hurt each other, I wouldn't have to watch them anymore. And then Tank, who's the less annoying of the two, lost, which made me even more sad. Astrid, do you have anything to talk about with this match?
No, I was hoping I know it wouldn't be, but I was still hoping that it would be kind of like JBBJ in that part of like they were really hard hitting with each other, like the way it was supposed to be. Yes, I don't blame me for doing that. And even like the ending, because I forgot what they hit each other with at the same time. We had that collision there, and they were both on the mat, and I just went over and was like, "Here, I'm gonna pin my partner," and that's how I went. It wasn't anything like he did over him that kind of beat him in that way. They did it to each other. So I thought that was interesting. And then we had a visitor in the way too.
Yeah, then Braun Breaker came in and made everything better by destroying the two of them and telling Mello that he'd see him in Boston and then winked. Braun, if you go to Boston, you're going to be missing the show. The show is in Lowell, about 45 minutes away. There's a train. It'll get you right to the arena. It's not too far away. Be all set. It's about $8.75 if the prices are still the same as the last time I went. But it's round trip too, so you can get back to Boston where your car is. Anyways, we then have Gigi and JC going back and forth. So I have a question. Is JC Jane saying that she's the reason why Toxic Attraction was great because they can't mention Mandy Rose?
That's what it feels like.
Or does she delusionally, in her heel delusion, believe that she's the best part of Toxic Attraction?
No, I definitely reflecting on. I feel like on the Mandy because if you notice, they refrain from saying toxic or toxic attraction in any way. Because if you notice, at one point she goes, "We were here in this lounge
Yeah.
watching the matches," but she didn't call the toxic lounge like they used to. It's like, we used to be in this lounge watching everybody, and we used to be unstoppable. We used to be this, and we used to be that. It's like we, but not mentioning names though, and making everything plural in that way on purpose. And it just, I wouldn't be able to do it myself if I was in her position, because I would slip out and say, "Mandy, you and I," kind of thing, and not just say "we" constantly. But yeah, you can tell it's one of those things that's like, you cannot mention toxic attraction. Don't say those words in any shape, way, or form. No Mandy either. And yeah, it's like you can tell because she is ended up replacing the wording with something else whenever they mention it, especially that launch part. I was like, the toxic lounge, you can go ahead and say it, it's okay, we know it. But yeah, you can tell it was one of those that they were trying to avoid it.
The best part is then Gigi says, are you trying to cover up for yourself, or are you not going to be the third wheel?" And I'm like,
Who's the third person?
Who's the third person? Because y'all ain't said her name since December.
No.
Y'all ain't said her name since December.
No. It's like, was there a third person in Toxic Attraction? I didn't know.
What's a toxic attraction? They were in a tag team. They were not in toxic attraction. Darn amazing. Nobody. Me as a commentator. This shoe has been very radioactive.
Yeah, that's how I would do too.
Like, I get the feud. I like the feud, but
you can tell they're like kind of like walking on eggshells in that type of way to like avoid mentioning it. So it feels awkward.
I just wish they would go balls in and just say her name.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna care. Honestly, she's not even thinking about wrestling right now. She doesn't care if she's mentioned on TV. They don't want to mention her because they don't want to have to bring up that they had to take the title off of her and why they did that. Barry says, "I felt sorry for Gigi. Obviously forgot her ring gear and had to do the promo. And she had a pair of jeans on. She's fine."
And if you notice too, when the video package for Roxanne happened, when they shoot the part of her winning the title, they only show the pop rocks with barely Bandy's gear, so you can barely see who it is too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They refused. Dara Amazing says, "Duh, the third person was Cora Jade." Yeah. We find out that it's going to be a weaponized steel cage match, and it's going to be the main event of next week's NXT, which again makes perfect sense. And like I've been saying, these two matches were so closely together with her and Gigi and Dijak and Ilya. They had to take a pick. One of them was going to be on the pay-per-view. One of them was going to be leading off the show or being the main event of the show the next week. I still think, as much as I like the idea of the weaponized steel cage, I still wish they would have gone last woman standing at the pay-per-view and a steel cage for Dijak and Ilya on the next week's show.
Yeah, when she was about to announce it, I was like, please say it. And I was thinking, they're doing a last man standing. They're not going to do a last woman standing basically almost a week after.
But, I understand the wrestling business. You can't do two of the same matches on the same night. Like, with the exception of WWE and their gimmick matches, you don't want to do, especially a last man standing. Like, those are some tough matches to sit through sometimes with the constant counting. So it's like, you don't want to do two of them in a row. And I like the weaponized steel cage. It still makes sense for the two of them. It makes sense that JC likes to try to run away. So weaponized steel cage keeps her in the ring and keeps everything going. Not a bad idea. We then get to Luca. My man Luca, my lawyer friend. Astrid. Being from Florida, I have to ask you. He's in front of the Orange County courthouse. Is there an Orange County in Florida that I don't know about?
Okay. Yep, Orlando is Orange County.
Okay, because every time I hear Orange County, I think of Orange County, California, and I think of the OC, and I was like, is he in Florida or is he in California? Because I even have written in my notes, California, in quotation marks, because I don't know.
No, anything or what we call Orlando or Kissimmee, which is where Disney is, all that kind of areas, or Orange County.
Okay. He has a match with Von Wagner. As I have written in my notes, because it's something I hear on another podcast, Von got disqualified for kicking too much ass. It's what happened.
Yeah. pretty
Luca
much.
grabbed the photo from Robert Stone, and he kept yelling that he was a freak, and Vaughn heard him, and he kicked too much ass, and he got disqualified. And then he kept kicking ass. And Robert Stone tries to talk him out of it, and he does for a little bit, and then the fans keep chanting. The fans are behind Von Wagner.
Yes, that's surprising.
It's a great time to send him to the main roster. Good job. You finally fucking got this guy over. And now you're sending him to the main roster as a free agent. Good job, NXT. Good job. You finally managed to get him over, and now you're going to have to do the whole thing over again on Raw, and it's going to take you 2 years like it did fucking this time. That being said, I loved the crowd cheering for him and cheering one more time as he tried to put Luca through that table.
Yeah.
That was great. Dara says, hell yeah, the ref couldn't handle all the ass kicking. Dara also brings up, what about a mixed tag team Falls Count Anywhere match between Dijak and JC and Alien and Gigi?
That sounds like a hot mess.
I agree. One, I think it sounds like a hot mess. Two, I think it would ruin and dilute the feuds because then you still have to have the singles matches. At the end of the day, you still have to have the singles matches that hopefully blow off the feuds. And that's why I said you couldn't do both of them at the pay-per-view. Because there's no way you can do both of these matches and both blow off feuds at the pay-per-view. Also, Luca took a hard... Yeah, he did. That table did not break. Those monitors definitely ended up in his back. That was not a fun ride for our man Luca. But he got the win. Luca, 1-0 on NXT television. The streak begins. By the way, he has more wins on his program than Johnny Swinger does on his. Just saying. Vaughn got over with many character changes, unlike Lacey Evans. Nothing against Lacey, though. No, everything against Lacey. Screw that bitch. That being said, she still can't get over. The funny thing about Lacey is, she was over, and they ruined her.
Yeah.
Her sassy Southern belle that she started with, everything that she was over until they put her with Ric Flair.
Watch her stuff in NXT. People liked it back then.
The Mae Young Classic, her stuff in NXT.
I love watching her live. But...
Even her stuff on Raw and SmackDown, up until putting her with Ric Flair in that Charlotte program. That's when everything fell apart for her.
Yeah, pretty much.
She was doing... Her stuff with Seth and Becky and Baron was really good.
Yeah, it's probably the best part.
Well, no, the best part of that feud was seeing Baron.
No, I mean like the best part of her, like her character. Yeah.
But no, the best part was seeing Becky Lynch to have to take the end of days. Oh, that was fantastic. Yeah. Oh God, I need to see that again. I'll be honest, I watch that moment once a month because it's fun. Yeah, that hasn't helped. That hasn't helped bring her back. The fans don't like her because of that. But her stuff was over before. So it's not like she never got over. She was over and got ruined. And then turned out to be a Republican douchebag and made it worse. I highly agree what you said on Lacey Noda. Yeah, like, she was over. And now, fuck that bitch. Like, yeah, in the PC, when she... There's that too. That's another great thing that I... It's so
beautiful
funny
moment.
Beautiful moment where she just roasts Sammy Guevara. Yeah. It's like, fine, baby. She's like, I ain't yo, baby. Oh. Sammy did not get that job for obvious reasons. Oh, it was so good. She's done such good stuff, and now she has to be such a terrible person. Sometimes your heroes aren't what they're meant to be. My notes just died. Hold on 1 second. We see Tony D'Angelo getting arrested. So, are we not going to see Tony, like, are they writing Tony D'Angelo off TV for a bit?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering too. Is like, this is like the way of repackaging him, because like at least make him have some kind of like last match as Tony before you do something like this. Not just, I feel like it's not random.
I don't think they're repackaging him. I just think he's going to come back as a heel again. I think that they were like, oh, he's a babyface. Well, we can't have that, so bring him to jail, repackage him. Like, not repackage, but like reset Tony D'Angelo, the mobster. Like, I just think he's
reset to factory settings.
Yeah. Hit the button in the back. You got to get the little, like, the pin out and get it in the little hole here in the back of the PlayStation controller.
Exactly.
Right
there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Like, if he's not on TV, I'm gonna miss him. That being said, if he goes back to being the original Tony D'Angelo, it's not gonna be that big a deal. I don't think they're going to completely repackage him because he's working. No need to repackage something that's working. Um, Speaking of not repackaging things that work, Astrid Asks is a thing that always gets views and always works. And here's another clip from Astrid's interview with Alyssa Marino.
There you go.
I think Sam Latourne is incredible. I always will sing Sam's praises. Just a lot of hustle, a lot of hard work, great voice, and I think is just still building upon it. So I think the sky is absolutely the limit. And I definitely think that that's a voice to watch out for, because I think that she is going to take the hell over. I think it's just a matter of time.
Yes, taking over. She's going to take the hell over. Maybe if she's going to be taking over, maybe one of our other guests on NXT needs to be Sam Latourna. Because if she's going to be taking over like that, then she needs to be here, taking over at least once. No, Alyssa's, it's a great interview. I've watched about half of it before YouTube told me that I could no longer watch the interview with the link that Astrid gave me. So I've only seen like
Hey, I gave you enough time to watch it.
No, because as soon as you posted that the video is going to go live, it stopped letting me watch it, so I only got to see half of it. That being said, Let's Get Serial will be coming out this Saturday. That is the Astrid Asks. That's the title of the episode of Astrid Asks, Let's Get Serial. Because, as you'll find out in the interview, why it's being called Let's Get Serial.
Yep.
That's called a tease.
Mm.
While it is Mental Health Awareness Month, we just want to go ahead and play a quick video of different places that you can go to get help in the event. I know it's a weird spot in the show to put it, but I wanted to go ahead and put it here just because it's important that we do it. It's the last taking over of the month. So I want to go ahead and play it. So we'll be right back in 1 minute. Yeah, so just remember that there are people there that are willing to listen. If you need to talk, find somebody. Don't do anything drastic. Please reach out to people. When you're in trouble, it's the most important thing to just go ahead and reach out to people. I've been through some of those troubles myself. Astrid just did a video with Bobby and Mel talking about her issues with mental illness. I did one where we were at our previous employer where we did a really good mental health show. That was really fantastic, where I opened up about it. And Mark says, just want to say thank you to Ol'Ed and Astrid for doing this video, as it inspired me to do my own, and his goes live tomorrow. So yes, get the biggest thing I can say is talk to somebody. I've had therapists my entire life since I've been 10 years old. I've battled suicide during my high school years, to the point where it got real serious at the high school dance. Ironically, a high school dance where people are supposed to be happy and whatnot. It got serious, and thankfully I had some friends who were there for me, and it turned out all right. It makes me happy that you're helping others. It really is nice to help people. There are so many great people in this world, and the Ol'Ed way is to help reach out and help people. We love talking about the things that we love talking about, whether it be women's wrestling for Astrid, whether it be Marvel for me, whether it be wrestling for the two of us and everybody else here at Ol'Ed, whether it be paranormal, paramindful with Alex, Carl, and Mel, whether it be Mel and Andre talking about New Japan over on their stuff. The Ol'Ed way is to talk about the things that bring us joy and to help others to find things that bring them joy. The Bravado with Bobby. Bobby does a great show called The Bravado. Make sure you go ahead and check those out. He just did one with... You see the name below us, Astrid?
Yeah.
Okay, that one was good. We find out that GG versus JC is going to be next week's main event.
Hmm.
No, we're not talking about football anymore. And then we have our. Speaking of the main event, we have our main event. Well, our match at least, because there's a little bit. You know what? No, screw it. We're gonna talk about the thing that happened after the match, real quick beforehand. So
Hmm.
after the match, we have Dijak and Ilya fight all the way outside. They battle around, but they conveniently battle around just long enough of each other to sign the contract, the Home Harless contract that's been there the entire show. We're also going to backtrack and talk about the NXT Anonymous segment that Ash is going to bring up.
Yeah, this was one of the videos that we had. Is Noam is backstage with the cup. He's talking to Oro about him being in his corner because Dragon Lee's gonna have Nathan in his corner, and Oro just leaves. So we see Jakara and Lash coming in. They talk with him and then they end up leaving too. And I like how as they're leaving, the NXT anonymous person kind of moves away so they don't see him or see her or whoever it is. But they kind of made a little noise of like the area they were in as they were moving. But it was just a matter of him trying to find backup, knowing that Dragon Lee has backup now. But nothing really came out of it.
Yep. And then speaking of the post match, while Roxanne Perez was walking away after the main event, she was attacked
Hmm.
by the hooded wrestler, who I'm going to assume is NXT Anonymous. I think the two are the same. I don't know if they are or not. But the hooded wrestler attacked Roxanne Perez. Who do you think it is? I see Sean Cena has a suggestion, and honestly, that's been my suggestion when we talked about it the last time.
Yeah.
Is I think Blair Davenport or Stevie Turner are my two options for who it might be. What about you?
And I keep trying to think of like kind of in that route of Sean Cena, like somebody that's been missing off TV for a little bit of time. Obviously, it's not going to be Nikita. I think the only one that may kind of intrigue me in a way would be if it was somebody like Wendy, who we kind of see in the background of so often, but she hasn't been doing much. So I think that would be interesting. No, Parrish, no. We know you like her, but no.
I made sure that I sent the video, the picture to Parrish the other day. I was sitting around on Sunday watching Bowling and Busting Out, and Dana Brooke was there, and she cut the worst promo, and she was surrounded by boulders. Think about that. They had boulders cutting better promos than Dana Brooke, who was.
Oh my
It's
God.
just it's so sad. They do need Detective Dango.
Yes.
Although I don't want Detective Dango, because then Detective Dango would just have to find out that it was himself who did it. So I believe that was the outcome of Detective Dango's detectiving.
Yep.
And I believe it was it Joe Hendry that proved that it was him or something?
Yeah. It was funny.
Impact. Oh, Impact. You do so many good things. And then you do that.
Yeah, but it was funny at least. So it was a good
Was
execution.
it? Was it
Yeah, it
funny?
was. Yeah, it was.
Wouldn't it have been funny if it was somebody else?
Yeah, like Joe Henry. I would have loved that.
It could have been anybody, just not Dango. Hell, it could have been Hornswoggle. WWE's done that to death, and it's always Hornswoggle. They don't have any other ideas. But at least when you have Hornswoggle, it's funny. By the way, I know that speaking of Hornswoggle, there's going to be a Hornswoggle-esque guest coming out on Busting Out in the near future. So keep your eyes peeled for that, because I don't know if that one's been revealed yet. I know they've revealed a lot of guests, that's why I was like, I don't remember if that was been revealed or not. I know about it. Johnny Swinger steals most scenes.
Swings.
He swings and steals most scenes. The main event: Tiffany Stratton versus Roxanne Perez. This was good. I enjoyed this. It was a fun match.
Yeah.
It was, for a TV main event, it was exactly what it needed to be. If it had been a pay-per-view match, I would have wanted more. And I think we would have got more. But, like I said, the one thing I'll say about the entire tournament, I feel like all of these matches... Alright, we'll shorten up the gossip. I do agree. I'll shorten up the gossip. But no, I think with all these shows, all these women's matches in this tournament, they could have been 5 more minutes. I think I've been happy with all of them except Lyra. Anything Lyra's in, I think didn't need to be 5 more minutes. But I think everything else could have been 5 more minutes long. As Mark says, Tiffany did it. We don't have to hear my rant. We have another title for the YouTube channel, which is called A Tiffany Meltdown. Was going to be the name of the episode. Had she lost. But we get to save that for another day. Astrid, what did you think, being the ladies wrestling expert here at our local establishment?
Jeez. No, what I liked about this more than anything is that Roxanne had really shown that she had been watching Tiffany. Every time she had something, Roxanne had it scouted. Um, Except for like obviously the end when Tiffany just countered the pop rocks, and that's when she was able to do the moonsault. I love how quickly she went to it after she counted. She's like, "I'm going for this moonsault like right now." Um, but no, I feel like they had a good back and forth. I wish it would have been a little bit longer. So I felt like this match, even though it was like the pacing was well done, I feel like it felt short. Like I wish I would have had more time on this one, particularly compared to the opener. But yeah, I feel like it was very well done. I'm glad it was these two. I either way I would have been happy, and like I told it, what I loved about it is like when the pin was happening, you could see the people in the crowd already standing waiting for it and counting with the ref for the three and being happy that Tiffany's the one that won. So it's nice to see her getting that kind of reaction, even as a heel, people just recognizing the work that she's been putting into it.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. I'm a big fan of Tiffany. She's grown on me by leaps and bounds since she um, first went ahead and started talking about, being daddy's little rich girl and everything else. And I like what they've done. They've fine-tuned this character to exactly what it needs to be. It's not that they've changed her character. She's still essentially the same character she's always been. They dropped that she's daddy's little rich girl. They've dropped the credit card. They've dropped the mean girl, like high school mean girl, and brought her to just generic mean girl. Which is fine, because this is working for her by leaps and bounds. And by the way, she's so much better at being the pretty little rich girl and the mean girl than Cora Jade is, who's trying to do the same thing but worse.
Yeah.
Because she feels it, she lives it. It's a gimmick that she's into. And it just works. So, we're going to go ahead and run down the entire card for the pay-per-view. We're not going to give any thoughts on it. We're just going to go ahead and announce the matches.
I gotta try to be quiet.
We have, in the British Rules match, we have Noam Dar defending his Heritage Cup against Dragon Lee. In the main event, we have Carmelo Hayes defending his NXT Championship against Braun Breaker. Defending his North American Championship in a three-way match, we have Tyler Bate versus Wesley versus Joe Gacy. In a last man standing, hold harmless agreed upon match. NXT is not held responsible for anything that these two do to each other or to the rest of us. Dijak coming home to go ahead and wrestle against Ilya Dragunov. In a tag team title match, Gallus on top will be defending their NXT Tag Team Championships when they take on the Creed brothers. And then Lyra Valkyria, the Bird Lady herself, will take on Tiffany Stratton in the finals of the Women's Championship Tournament to crown the new NXT Women's Champion. There's a whole bunch of good stuff coming up. And like I said, and like Mark said in the chat, on Saturday morning, not on Sunday, on Saturday, 11 a.m., just before the pre-show begins for Night of Champions, you can go ahead and catch me and Astrid Pizarro with our guest Doc, Chris Mueller from Bleacher Report. He's a fantastic person. He's BR Doc on Twitter. He does all kinds of great work for Bleacher Report. He is a big Willow Nightingale fan, so we'll definitely be able to talk a little bit about Willow's big win, because he is a very, very big Willow fan. So he's going to be very excited about that. And of course, my replacement, because I'm going to be at Battlegrounds, my one night only replacement, Astrid, is going to be Ella J on the post show of NXT Battlegrounds. However, don't leave just yet, because after the NXT Battlegrounds episode, immediately following, as long as AEW has their shit together, is going to be our own Bobby Bunny Munson and Lauren Goodnight going ahead and doing the AEW post show for AEW's Double or Nothing. To find out what else we got going on this week for everybody, we're going to go ahead and play a quick video with the calendar, and then Astrid and I will be back to tell us exactly what we've got going on. So those are all the wonderful things that you can see from Ol'Ed this weekend. And boy, do we have a busy weekend here. So make sure you get your notifications on to make sure you don't miss any of that. But Astrid, what do you got coming up this week?
Nothing, because I have no life. I'll be here. I won't be here all weekend. You can find me on my Twitter, which is Astrid Pizarro. My Instagram is Astrid Pizarro 20. I'll be here Friday for the preview for Battleground.
No.
Potentially. Huh?
No. We're not previewing Battleground on Friday. Night of Champions.
Yeah. And then we got Night of Champions preview. We got the Battleground preview. And what else? Potentially the Night of Champions post show. I know I will be the Battleground post show for sure. Yeah, all of that. But yeah, you can see it on the calendar, but I probably forget everything that's happening because it's a lot.
She's also got Making an Impact coming on Thursday night with Cody.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm working that show. I hope I'm not working that show.
No.
I know Cody's missing. I think I'm hosting one by myself because I think Cody's going somewhere one week that I think you're going away. The 8th show. Isn't that the same one that he's going to Top Talent?
He's going, but I'm here.
Yes, I know, but I think that's the same week that you're gone at the concert.
Yeah.
So if that's it, then I'll be hosting.
No, the weekend after. Yeah.
Oh, it's the week after. Okay.
No, but it's a Tuesday. Only Tuesday. That's it.
Oh, I need a host for Tuesday. Okay, I thought it was a Thursday show. That's why I'm confused. Anyways, you can find me on Twitter at edfries12584. You can message me on Twitch at edfries2002. I haven't streamed in a while, so I don't know if I'm going to stream on there. But you can message me on Twitch. It's always nice to get messages there. That being said, you can find me. I will fix this for Astrid. Friday night, me, Parrish, and Astrid will be doing the Night of Champions preview show following SmackDown. On Saturday morning, we'll be doing the Battlegrounds preview show with Doc. On Sunday, I will be at the show. You can message me. I won't answer it. I will be at the show. I may call into the post show. I may or may not, depending on the traffic, call into the post show while I'm trying to get out of the parking lot. Also, you can catch me and Chris Parrish as I kick some more butt as we have our second premium live event on our Wrestle Draft tomorrow night at 10 o'clock following AEW Dynamite. That's the one that's on Wednesdays, right? Not Rampage,
Yes.
Dynamite.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can find me there doing all of those wonderful things. I might be on the post show for Night of Champions, as I think it's, as of right now, I think it is going to be Astrid, myself, and Carl Carafel. I think that is the 3-person team that we're going to be going with for that.
And I had to highlight this one. Yeah, Under Season Friday, watching it. We won't be discussing it until Thursday after on Making an Impact. So, yeah, jam-packed week for us.
Yeah, it's and thank you, Mark. We greatly appreciate all of your kind words. Mark will be having his NXT review go live. You can go ahead and check that out. Like he said, he will be doing a live watch along for NXT. So if you want, watch our pre-show on Saturday. watch the
No.
show with him.
He said it best. See?
Yes, but you're not doing anything Sunday afternoon.
No.
You're not doing the pre-show on Sunday.
No.
So watch it on Saturday,
Yeah.
and go watch Mark on Sunday during the show. And then after the show, Mark and all of his friends can come here and talk to Ella J and Astrid about the show as I try to beat traffic, which is going to be fun. Thankfully, I only live 20 minutes away from the arena, so it won't be that bad once I get out of the building. But God, that's going to be a hell of a thing. For all of those here on Twitch, we're going to be rating Mr. TN10SK after the show. So make sure you go ahead and say hello. Tell him that Ole sent you. And we will see you all next week. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Everyone is watching me when I'm coming around. They all are judging me when I'm lying on